Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Laneside Reviews. With summer here, we may not be spending as much time as we'd like on the lanes, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be learning and getting ready for next season. So ladies and gentlemen, ding ding, school is in. Welcome to Laneside Summer School. And on this very first episode of Summer School, we're going to be teaching you about the techniques of taping inside a thumb hole. Alright guys, so welcome back. As always, I am the bearded beast, Rob Johnson, and as we said, we're looking at techniques for taping inside the thumb hole. Now, with fall leagues just around the corner, only a couple of months away, and summer leagues going on, we may not be spending as much time on the lanes as we'd like, but this is the perfect opportunity for you to tinker with how the ball fits and feels before you go into your fall league to make sure that you can maximize the amount of time that you have on the lanes. Now, in our testing, at least my testing, we found there are two major ways that people tape the ball, being taping in the front and taping in the back. But when I started polling bowlers as to why they place their tape in certain places, very few of them could actually give me a reason why that they did this other than, well, this is the way I've always done it. So we want to take a little bit of time and go in depth as to why you place tape in certain places in the ball and what benefits it gives you. So why don't we, well, let's get right down to the ball and see how our tape stacks up. Alright guys, welcome back. We're here at the bench in Laneside Pro Shop, and you'll see our old friend here, the Grease Monkey Whack from Radical, and well, it's got some funny lines drawn on it. You're probably wondering why. Well, anytime I fit up a customer or even myself, I like to be able to repeat that taping method over and over and over again so that if they don't have an interchangeable thumb like myself, they can be able to retape their ball without an issue. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why do you need tape? You've got an interchangeable thumb. Well, as I said, no matter what season we're in, our hand's going to change. During a block, our hand's going to change. Our thumb's going to swell or shrink, our fingers the same way. So we want to make sure that we can best tape the ball to get our best feel all the time. So let's jump right into taping the thumb off. So you'll see here I have 4 quadrants actually marked out on the ball. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's something I've never seen anybody else do, but it just makes sense to me. So try not to beat me up too much on the boards here. It's just my method. When I'm fitting somebody up into the ball, I make sure how their thumb actually enters and exits the thumb hole. If we were to just put tape here and tape here, the literal front and back of the ball, that might be fine if somebody's hand only exits this way. But the problem is, watch how my hand enters and exits the ball. So my fingers go in, and my thumb actually comes in over here on quadrant 1. Now if I had put tape at the front of this hole, that would actually be the side of my thumb. Similarly, if I had put it in the back, it'd be this side of the thumb. So that's not giving me the feel that I want. So I quadrant off the ball and find out exactly where someone's hand enters and exits the ball so that I can give them a proper snug feel on the thumb. Because nobody's thumb is a perfect circle. It's an oval, and we want to make it as, not tight, but as snug as possible. So here we go. We're going to tape the front of the thumb on this one. Now for all of these reviews, in this episode, we're going to be using silver and blue tape from Real Bowlers Tape. And while I'm putting this in, I'll kind of give you a background on this. I've used tape in my ball for a long, long time. And one of the things I hated is actually the reason I went to an interchangeable thumb in the first place is that I hated messing with tape. There'd always be residue left over, it'd be sticky and gummy and gross, and it'll take forever to get my feel back if I had to take some tape out. And I never wanted to mess with it. And when I got to try out the Real Bowlers tape, it was like night and day. I was able to take tape out and not only not have residue, but reuse it. So when you're spending that money on that tape, you're not just throwing away a piece of tape every time you got to change it. And it really struck a chord with me because of how much tape I use. So I was able to hook up with those guys and get some tape going here, and I've used it all the way through Vegas, through the Pro Tour, all the way since. It's been a godsend to me. So I put the tape in quadrant 1 here, and if you actually look, you can see the tape goes right from here, this line, to this line, and as my thumb enters the hole, it is the front of my thumb. Now, why is that important? Well, for myself, if I feel like I'm slipping out of the front of the ball, I'm going to grip harder. And if you're gripping onto the ball, you're going to have an inconsistent release and an inconsistent reaction down lane. Think about it. If you're gripping the ball and you let it off and you're gripping on it and you torque up on it, it's going to hook more down lane. So why don't you want to be comfortable and be able to repeat it every time? Now, here's a little side note for you guys. Remember how I talked about being able to remove things? Well, check this out. Do-do-do-do-do. Tape comes out. Nothing. No residue, no nothing. And all the tape's still on the thumb here. So we're going to be able to tape the back side with this. Now, why do we want to tape the back of our thumb? If we can get less grip pressure here, why do we want to do anything with the back? Well, sometimes you want to hang on to that ball a little bit longer. Sometimes you want to be able to get it to hang on just so you can get under it and get that little bit more lift. You don't want it to transfer as fast off your hand. Well, a little bit of grit on the back of your thumb is going to allow the ball to stay on there longer, because you think if that's the ball coming off, that's the last part of the thumb it touches as it's coming out. So it's going to give you a little bit more grip, a little bit, delay the release of the ball a little bit. It's not going to be as clean off your hand, clean as in against the thumb hole, but it's going to snug it up. It's going to make it comfortable for you. So let's tape this sucker in here. Now, as we said, quadrant 1 was my front, quadrant 3 was my back. So let's just put this on here. Always make sure you line up your tape before you press down on it, otherwise it doesn't go into the right spot. So let's do that. Let's get it in there. A little bit of downward pressure on it. Bam, right in the hole. And right exactly where I want it. I can already feel that grit, that grip on the thumb. Now, sometimes you want that little bit extra tightness on the back, but you don't want grit. You still want to be clean out of the ball, but you want it to be a little bit tighter. And that's where blue tape comes in. Blue tape, if you remember in the old days, they used to have that black electrical tape. You'd see that guy pull the roll out of his bag and he'd clip off a piece and stuff it in there. Well, this is what we would call a technical upgrade. It has that smoothness that you would find in that style of tape, but once again, it has the no residue that the silver tape has, which means you can take it in and take it out, which is hugely important in tournaments, especially because of the thickness. Each one of these brands, like the blue tape and the silver tape, have a different grit pattern to them. They also have a different thickness. So if 2 pieces of silver tape is too much, you can put a blue piece on the bottom and get the grit from the silver, or put the silver in and put the blue on top and get the smoothness. It'll allow you to get a much more comfortable fit without having to super jam your thumb, and it'll give you whatever kind of release you want, which is the most important part, being comfortable on your release. So in the next section here, I'm going to set up, and we're actually going to talk about a style of taping the front of your thumb that most people don't know about, and it's probably one of the most important ones that I do for my thumb hole. So here we are set up for the next part of the video. As I said, we're going to be doing tiered taping. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of this before, what tiered taping is creating almost like a ramp on your tape so that when your thumb is placed against it, it actually comes up to meet the tip. Now what this does is it tends to eliminate that grabbing that we were talking about, simply because you have no place to move your thumb. It snugs up nice and tight so that it comes right up to the edge of your thumb, meets up nicely, and keeps your thumb straight through your entire release. So let's just dive right in here and let's build my tape. So the way I actually start off with 4 pieces of tape. And it sounds a little excessive, but as I said, I want that feel, I want that consistency, I want that comfort. And then as my thumb swells or shrinks, I can either put a piece of tape in on top of it, on the back of my thumb, or even add tape to my hand. But we'll get to hand taping in a little bit. So the first thing we do is we take 2 pieces of tape and we actually cut the round ends off here. You can see I've already done this. We cut the round part off so we have 2 rectangles. And then we fold those rectangles in half and then fold them in half again so that when we cut strips, we have 1/4 tape strips. And the reason we do that is we're actually just want to build basically at the back of the tape, right around here, rather than building to the very top. Now this is something that really drives me nuts. This right here, this round part, this is for the top of the ball. This is for the part that's on the outside of the ball. Do you know why? Well, it's because square edges catch on everything and they roll up, and then you have to replace all of your taping. So why do that? Use the round, give yourself a thumbs up, see, thumbs up, and put the round towards the outside of the ball. Okay, so here we start. This is our base piece here. And what we're going to do is we're going to build from the back forward. Now when I do mine, I'll show you here. Starting at the back, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces that go on the back, the very, very end, because that's the highest point on your thumb. You can see here on my thumb, right here, you want that roundness to be flat. So, now some people throw these round pieces away, but I actually really like them, especially for when you build up to the very top of it, because it does give it a little bit of a rounded feel. So let's start here. So what we do is we take our tape. I'll show you what I mean with that rounded feel in a second. We take our tape, we peel it off, and we take a flat edge and put it right here on a flat edge. I'll show you. So I line this up. Now don't worry if you go outside, because you can always trim this up after. But you can see right there. You see that line there? That's where the cut is, and it lines up with those 3 edges. Now take a little bit of time every time you put a piece on and just kind of give it a push down. It gets the adhesion better. Let's put on piece number 2. Like that. Piece number 3. Piece number 4. Piece number 5. And this is where my rounds come in. I actually turn the rounds around so that I line up the flat edge with the inside flat. You can see what I've done here. So the round is going towards the back. It just rounds the feel of it, and it kind of matches the size of your thumb. So it's a personal thing for me. You can throw them out if you want. But it's what I do. All right, so now we've got our 6-piece tower, our 1-piece bottom, so that's 7 pieces deep, and you can definitely see there is quite a ledge built there. You see that? Because we want it to meet our thumb. Now for the next one, 1, 2, 3 pieces to go in. So let me, and I just butt these right up against the ones I've already put on. So let's do that. Piece number 1. Now some people think it takes a long time and is this really worth it and blah blah blah. And let me tell you, you have not gripped your thumb until you've had a tiered tape put in it. The fact that you cannot physically grip the ball, it makes it so much cleaner off your hand when you're transitioning it off your thumb, because you're not like this. You're just like this. It relaxes your hand so much. So there we go. We've got our base piece plus 3 pieces. And then for our last tier, we've got 1 piece. Put that on there. Now let me show you here. You can actually see now there's quite a ledge built, a little ramp that goes right up. Now if we left it like this, those little pieces would probably peel off. Even though we're coming against them, over time they'd come off. So what we do is we take another fresh piece and we put it on top. We just line up the edges here. Bing and bing. We try to make sure we put it down nice and smooth. There we go. Perfect. And as I said, give it a little bit of a push down, get that adhesion in there. And you can see the tiers there. What we've done is we've built 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 5 pieces, and 8 pieces. You can see how much it hugs, how much more it hugs my thumb, that little ramp there at the end, than it would if it was just one flat piece. So let's grab a ball and get this thing in here and see how it feels. So here we are with our Grease Monkey again. We've got our 4 quadrants marked off, as we did originally. Now let's get this tiered tape put in. Now the first thing we want to do is give it a little fold. Because it's much thicker now, it's going to have a little tougher time getting into the ball. So we just give it a little fold. Let's remove the tape. We're going to put it into our tape tool. You see here, we're just going to be able to fold the top there. So give it just a little bit of a fold around it there. All right, let's feed this in. So we've got quadrant 1 here, which is where my thumb enters and exits the ball. We want to place it right between the 2 lines. Oh, we're just going to move this in here just a little bit. Perfect. And then we're going to give it a good press down there to get that adhesion. And bada bing, it's right in. Let's see how it feels. Oh yeah, I like that. That fits right up my thumb. So as the tape's going up my thumb here, as it gets to the end, I'm getting a nice big bank. So my thumb has to stay straight all the way through that. Oh, I like the feel of that a lot. You can hear, you can actually see, it's got a good snug grip, but it's not tight, it's not binding. It's just snug. All right, now the same thing can technically be done for fingers. I wouldn't suggest it with fingertip inserts, though I have seen it done. Most of the time, taping for fingers is done when you have them drilled, and I've definitely seen tiered taping for those as well. Though To be honest, I'm not sure. The people I've seen doing tear taping for fingers, I don't really understand it because there isn't that same grip as to what you'd get in a thumb. But you know what? To each their own. Everybody has their own thing that they do and they like. So who am I to tell anybody that they're doing it right or wrong? So why don't we take it back to the shop here and close things up on the first episode of our Tape Spectacular. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for this show. But we don't want you to think this is the end of summer school. For those of you who have seen my hand on Facebook, there is another way to tape for fit, and that's taping directly onto the hand. In our next episode of Summer School, we're going to go into some of the specifics of what I do and how it benefits me, and give you guys some suggestions on how to tinker. So until next time, guys, we'll see you laneside. This program sponsored by Turbo, Driven to Bowl, for all the Quad 2 inserts and interchangeable thumbs we use in all of our videos. Dexter Bowling Shoes, the world's most advanced bowling shoe, the SST-8. Bowlerama Berry, for all the lanes we bowl on. For birthday parties and corporate events, call now. Still searching for that perfect fit? With no residue and easy removal, Real Bowlers Tape really is the Real Bowler's choice. Plantronics Rig, stereo headset and mixer. Play more, pause less. And Logo Infusion. Look the best, be the best, infuse your game. Logo Infusion.